Bass Agenda presents Spacelab.
Welcome back to Spacelab, folks. This is episode number 7, and we have another treat in store for you this week. Our guest is none other than Grandmaster Lonzo Williams, architect of the World Class Wreckin Cru and godfather of West Coast hip hop. Thanks to Lonzo for agreeing to not one, but 2 interviews. Our first chat was so electric that it corrupted the audio file, so we're enormously grateful that Lonzo was happy to hang out with us again and tell his story. I'm your host, Billy Proctor, the Electro Doctor, joined as always by the bass junkie, Mr. Phil Klein. Stay tuned for another world exclusive on Spacelab as we premiere the Bass Junkie remix of Horny Computer, a slab of pure intergalactic electro that I guarantee will shatter your skull. He's not called the Bass Junkie for nothing, you know. First up, a classic from the vaults. You all know this one. Released in 1985, the first track from the album World Class. This is
The Planet!
Planet is where you want to be, to fulfill all emotional needs, to have total control of the human mind, where computers rule all mankind.
Prepare for countdown. We have ignition. Prepare for liftoff. All systems are go.
Attention passengers, Gate 7 is now boarding for a one-way trip to the planet.
All aboard for a celestial ride. We're gonna take a journey to the other side. You are about to take a voyage to a special place where cosmic pleasures interface. The freaks are all here, all systems are go. They will experience high velocity, energy flows, ultimate ecstasies, you can hardly stand it. Everybody finds it here on the planet. We're on our way on an interstellar flight, a journey filled with fun all through the night. We are the pilots of your shuttle, transporters of love, taking you to a place you can only dream of. Look out your window to the left, and you will see you're in a zone far from home called Sector B. And Riding to the right is the awesome space bandit. Have no fear, he's part of here, on the way to the planet. Arrived and made our final descent. The atmosphere is clear, so let the fun commence. Take a chance to find romance, and you'll soon discover at this place you'll find the face of your true lover. Fantasies unfold in this land so real. You'll express with finesse what you can't conceal. Your inner thoughts no longer secret, all emotions will show. Cause in this land of give and take, when I come you'll go. A futuristic world, every boy has a girl, and through the powers of the planet, their bodies will twirl. The temperature rises, they removed all disguises. They discover that each other are full of surprises. The World Class Crew has taken you to a place where all fantasies will come true. So listen to this rule that you must obey, from Lonzo, Clientele, and Dr. Dre.
So for many of us, the World Class Wreckin Cru, probably the most famous group in the electro era of hip-hop, but I think that's notably because Dr. Dre was an original member. Now we all know that Dre he's had a monumental career in hip-hop. Formed NWA in 1987, produced the seminal gangster rap album Straight Outta Compton in 1988, then there was the follow-up N for Life in 1991, moved to Death Row Records, produced The Chronic, Snoop Doggy Dogg's debut album Doggy Style in 93. He left Death Row to form Aftermath, discovered Eminem, released the album 2001, and then he turned into a corporate entity with his Dre Beats headphone range, became the first hip-hop mogul to crack the $1 billion ceiling when he sold Beats to Apple. And it's fair to say that Dre's beginnings in the World Class Wreckin Cru didn't foreshadow the cultural juggernaut he would become from the late 80s onwards. A stellar career by all accounts, a star on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It doesn't get much better. But Dre's electro legacy isn't really acknowledged, except to purists like us and the Spacelab posse. Juice, Surgery, House Calls, Mission Possible, World Class Freak, Bionic, these are seminal electro classics. Maybe Dre's persona as a gangster in NWA meant that he could never embrace the World Class Wreckin Cru days. After all, on the cover of their debut album, that was called World Class from 1985, Dre, Grandmaster Alonzo, Clientele and DJ Yella also going with Dre later to form NWA. And they're all dressed like Rick James or Prince, flamboyant space pimps, rather than gritty gangsters from Compton. And I remember at the time, Phil, that me and my friends were all shocked at Dre in a baseball cap, but I loved the sheer audacity of NWA's Straight Outta Compton. My parents freaked out when I played Fuck the Police loudly in my bedroom, and to be fair, I thought they were both at work. But maybe this disconnect between world-class Dre and hyper-masculine NWA Dre is what prevents him from discussing his origin story more, or in some cases dissing it outright. It's barely referenced in the film Straight Outta Compton, if at all, and one of my friends actually turned off the film in protest against the fact that the World Class Wreckin Cru weren't really mentioned.
Well, there's a few things that aren't mentioned in that film as well. I mean, you completely, they dismiss Arabian Prince's involvement in the first album, which he was, he was a producer as well as Dre on that. So Arabian Prince doesn't even get mentioned in the film. I mean, Lonzo's in the film, portrayed quite badly, it seems, and we speak to him about that, don't we? I think the only World Class Wreckin Cru things are sort of hinted at in there, and obviously there's the picture of the Daryl Davis cover art for House Calls on the studio wall there. I would like to have seen a little bit more of the nod to that, really, of seeing Daryl's artwork up there in the studio. I've always found it puzzling. Maybe, like you say, the whole gangster rap thing, the exploding in the late 80s with mainly NWA Straight Outta Compton album. I mean, that really, went stratospheric after that, didn't it? I mean, you had Ice-T beforehand, and obviously the originator was Schoolie D. Ice-T also says this. And there were other people doing a bit of it, but reality rap or a crime rap or whatever you want to call it. You're probably hitting the nail on the head because of what World Class Wreckin Cru were. To me, an electro band, I guess to you the same, but there was also the slow jams in there. I mean, Lonzo discusses how the biggest hits that they had were like Turn Off the Lights and was it Lovers, the other one, which are both tracks I believe on the albums respectively. Lovers is on the first one and Turn Out the Lights is in the second one. I can't remember because those are the tracks that I would ignore mostly. I mean, I'm into the faster, more up-tempo, vocoder sort of stuff, stuff with scratching in the raps. That's the stuff I love. I mean, the first album for me, as I've told you many times, I'm going to say it again because obviously our guest is Lonzo, it was the first vinyl electro album I bought, and I deliberately went all the way into London on the train with my cousin to go to Groove Records, the place which was a mecca for most people my age in those days, in the 80s, and picked it up, and I had to get it, and that started my journey buying vinyl and then ultimately becoming a DJ. So that record to me is hugely important. It was the second album I bought by a single artist of the hip hop electro genre. So Nucleus, the first I had on cassette. Then I had World Class by the World Class Wreckin Cru. I remember getting 01 and a few other bits and pieces, some Paul Hardcastle stuff, and some Run DMC and things like that. But on the electro tip, that was it. Those two albums. So yeah, hugely important, and a shame that it wasn't really discussed so much. Wasn't shown in the film. But I guess that's down to Dre and Yella and that sort of just wanting to have that sort of harder edge sort of NWA ethos.
I mean, Eazy-E apparently was a true gangster. He was a drug dealer and all of that, and he was the one who fronted the money for the record label that started Ruthless. But I think that's what it is. I think it's just that for some people, the imagery on the World Class Wreckin Cru's first album and on Wrapped in Romance, but erasing Arabian Prince is just not right. But the beginnings of NWA also embraced electro. So we've played Panic Zone before. You and I, it's one of our favourite tracks, vocals by the Arabian Prince. And there's that bonus track on the Straight Outta Compton CD, Something to Dance to.
Yo, give me something to dance to.
Arabian Prince, back with the style is hype. Not slow and low, it's the fast type.
Getting dumb, can you hear the drum?
Yo, Dre, why don't you pump it up some?
I pumped it up, so now what's up?
Yo, Yellow Boy, add a little cut.
What the hell, you think we need some bells?
Yeah, homeboy, might as well.
There it is, so now what's next?
A little so fire me up.
Hold it, wait a minute, you need something else in it.
This is what I want you to do. Feel the groove, bust the move.
Yo, I'm tired, what about you?
Man, this is something to dance to.
That's whack, everybody use that.
Yo, won't you bring back the other track? Yeah, there you go, that's what I'm saying. I like it when that dope stuff is playing real loud in your ear hole.
Man, let's go, I think my feet are swole from dancing so damn much.
Man, I don't give a
what? You wanna leave with all these females pulling on my sleeve? I bet you can jet home, boy, no sweat.
This is what I want you to do. Feel the groove, bust the move.
This is something to dance to.
But without Lonzo Williams, there may not have been a Dr. Dre film. There certainly wouldn't have been a World Class Wreckin Cru.
Yeah, most certainly.
And as listeners will hear from our interview on Spacelab today, Lonzo cites 3 figures as instrumental in the genesis of West Coast hip hop. So that would be like the Herc, the Flash, and the Bam of the East Coast. There is Lonzo, of course, that he tells us immodestly at the beginning, as you'll hear. Roger Clayton from Uncle Jam's Army and the Unknown DJ. Of course, I knew about Uncle Jam's Army and their legendary parties, but I was glad to hear about the Unknown DJ. Listeners will obviously remember classic jams like 808 Beats, Let's Jam, Beatronic, Breakdown, the saga of Professor X and all of that. But he was also involved in the scene before that, wasn't he, Phil?
Unknown, yeah. He's like the 5th member of the World Class Wreckin Cru, isn't he? He was a DJ at Eve After Dark. I think he even tells us that Unknown gave Yella his first go on the decks, doesn't he? I think he mentioned something about that. Yella was doing posters for him, advertising the gigs at Eve After Dark, and then he got on the decks and he didn't even remember how it happened, but he thinks it was Unknown. And then we just saw recently Yella posting a picture of him and Unknown on the decks, I'm assuming at Eve After Dark, and it said something like before NWA there was Unknown DJ or something like that. I can't remember what the exact words were, but I did share the picture with you, didn't I? So, I mean, yeah, the importance of the Unknown DJ, which is great that he gets a shout in this as well. And I know that him and Lonzo go way back and they're still firm friends to this day. Would love to get Unknown on our podcast, but I don't think it's going to happen, as he rarely does interviews. But, you know, you can hope.
Yeah, we can hope. I mean, I've emailed him and chatted with him on email a few times, thanks to you putting us in touch. But when I asked for an interview, he just says, hey, I'm the Unknown DJ after all. This
is true. And I do love that about him as well. I love that he's kept that persona going for so long. It is great. I mean, there's only the one recorded interview I'd ever heard of him talking about his music, which West Coast Pioneers have still up on their SoundCloud. You can go and hear it there. And that's a really great in-depth interview, but that was got to be about 20 years ago now when he done that one.
Those guys just turned up in Compton one day, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think we spoke briefly about this before. Yeah, they turned up in Compton and they rung up the number, I think, on Egyptian Empire Records and asked to speak to the King of the Beats. And just so happened, I think that Egypt was at Lonzo's 40th birthday at the time, and they were like, "Where are you?" And we were like, "They were on the corner of a street in Compton or something," and they were like, "Don't move, we'll come and get you, it's not safe," or something like that, and picked them up. I'm pretty sure that's how it went down, because I remember seeing pictures of the party and everything happening. So yeah, that was quite crazy.
Yeah, and you see Unknown DJ in Lonzo's documentary on Amazon Prime. Spacelab listeners should check it out. It's free if you've got Amazon Prime. It's called Eve After Dark. It's about the nightclub that Lonzo starts in LA, where, you know, the World Class Wreckin Cru get their start. I think there's one video I've seen of the World Class Wreckin Cru in action, Phil. It must be the one everyone sees, where they're all dressed in silver. Dre's dressed like a doctor on the decks, and clientele's dancing the two. It's pretty. Well, it's not embarrassing if you were there at the time. Let's just say it's very 1980s.
Yeah, it looks great. Are you talking about the surgery video?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen it. Yeah. I think that's the only one I've ever seen of them all like up there performing. And this is one thing we do lose in the interview, because in the first one we talked to Lonzo about gigs. I seem to remember we were mentioning about gigs, and he was saying where he played, and there was one he was saying that was in the middle of like some big farm or something. Was it in Texas? I think that's on the first interview, because I don't think we touched on it again in the second one, unfortunately. But I was trying to get an idea of where they were playing, and we were talking about UK Fresh 86, obviously, because that's where I went hoping that I was going to see them, but I was gutted when I found out they weren't in the afternoon session, which was I was attending, and they were only on in the evening. So I never got to see them perform ever, so I was a bit disappointed about that. But yeah, you know, that one piece of footage seems to be the only one out there, unless anyone else knows different. I've only seen Surgery performed.
Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff in the 80s, in the East Coast and the West Coast. But, you know, when we spoke to Cosmo D, he said, you know, the one thing we didn't think is just to take some photographs, just to document this thing as it's happening, and it's the same on the West Coast as well. But it's you see Unknown DJ in the Eve After Dark documentary, but he's kind of shadowed out as if he's an FBI informant or something like that.
Yeah, I love it. It was great to see him on there, actually. I was really shocked when you actually saw that they got him to do that. And Lonzo said, I said, how did that come about? And he says, he was just at my house when we were doing the documentary, and everyone persuaded him to go and do it. And he only agreed to do it if they would do that sort of, you know, so he's just a silhouette.
Yeah, what I've really liked about speaking to Lonzo, luckily we spoke to him twice. We've had quite a lot of contact with him, and he's been very gracious with his time. Thanks to Lonzo for that. But also reading his book, NWA, which stands for Not Without Alonzo, and the Eve After Dark documentary, and a couple of other books where I'm starting to appreciate what Lonzo did more now, because in the past I was like, well, what does Lonzo do? He's just, he just doesn't really have a part to play. He was instrumental in everything, and, you know, the godfather of West Coast hip hop.
Yeah, well, I remember you mentioning that, and I was going, yeah, but look at the history, you know, look at where he was, what he was doing, you know. If you think he was the grandmaster of the show, you know, Lonzo of the World Class Wreckin Cru, that's him, you know, with people. He started that. He started the Wreckin Cru. He ran Eve After Dark, you know, that a regular club night every weekend, sorry. And he was telling us about other things as well that he was doing. But he was a mobile DJ to start with, and it was just him and Roger Clayton. And I think in his book, which is a really interesting book as well, if you want to know more about the origins of West Coast hip hop and what was going on, which I've always been really interested in. To read, I mean, I did the audio book myself. I didn't read it. I did the audio book, which was great. And, you know, he talks about how he met Roger. They were in some for a record distributor. You know, they were friends, and then they were kind of like rivals, but, you know, not in an enemy sort of situation. But they were both doing DJ, putting on events. He had a club. Roger did events in, you know, which led up to the big one in the arena, you know, the 10,000 people event, which Egyptian Lover would have DJ'd at as well, being one of Uncle Jam's Army. I mean, all these things that were going on, they were instrumental in keeping in that growing scene in the West Coast. And to hear Unknown DJ as well was another one, is great also. I mean, I think he mentions in the book about Unknown DJ saying that the first time he meets Unknown, he was, and a friend of his, who he doesn't mention, Unknown, and this other guy were going through his records while he was DJing, and he's like thinking, what's going on here? What are they looking at? And they were checking out all his equipment and everything, and he was wondering if they were going to steal it or something like that, wasn't he?
Yeah, and there is a big book where Lonzo's role is covered in a bit more depth, and that's a book called Original Gangsters by Ben Westhoff. It's like 670 pages of just, but it does talk about the World Class Wreckin Cru in some depth. Lonzo's obviously available for interview because Lonzo's trying to correct the history and to make sure it's all remembered the way that it should be. And I think that crystallised in the Super Bowl appearance of Dr. Dre when he had that Eve After Dark sign on. That was kind of, for Lonzo, legitimated everything. It was something that validated his part in the birth of that, of West Coast hip hop.
I would say most definitely, yeah. What a great thing, you know, what a tribute.
Yeah, let's get Dr. Dre on, eh?
Well, we've got another Dr. Dre on, but not that Dr. Dre.
Well, let's get Arabian Prince and get his story out there around, you know, certainly around NWA, but he did some classic electro tracks. I still love Situation Hot. When I first heard that, it was like I'd felt, it's not that I fell out of love with electro, it's that there wasn't much getting produced. And then my friend just said, listen to this. And when it came in with that voice, records will melt to the heat of this beat, I was like, oh, shit. It's like the beginning of Rock the Bells, but an electro version.
Records will melt to the heat of this beat. Totally designed to destroy concrete. I'm Arabian Prince, don't rock the bell. I tell the sucker down and I ring it like hell.
Situation hot. Will you be my situation hot?
body and I have the soul. Let me inside to fulfill your goal. I won't touch it, I won't even fight. If you let me be with you on this beautiful night. All I want to do is be your man. Thinking back, can you understand all the things I do for you and all the things you've done for me? Just you and me, that's the way it's got to be. From your body, I'll outdo the sun, just to let you know that I'm the only one to caress your body and make you sweat. It's been written, it's been said that I'm the best. Break down. Records will melt to the heat of this beat. Records will melt. Records will melt to the heat of this beat. Records will melt. Records will melt to the heat of this beat. Records will melt. Records will melt. Records will melt to the heat of this beat.
I like the beat. I like the beat.
Records will melt.
I like the beat.
Records will melt.
I like the beat.
Records will melt.
I like the beat.
Records will melt to the heat of this beat.
I like the beat. I like the beat.
Records will melt. Records will melt. Records will melt. Records will melt. Records will melt.
I like the beat.
Records will melt to the heat of this beat.
But, you know, back to Lonzo and, you know, one of the amazing things that happened, I've known Phil for quite a while now, and when we're on these calls, obviously we're on a video, and Phil gets this cheeky look in his face near the end of interviews where he goes a bit funny, and I said, whoa, here it comes, where Phil's going to ask someone who we both kind of worshipped for 40 years, look, have you got something like hidden away, or have you got some extra tracks and things like that? And, you know, last month we had Cosmo D with Crunch featuring MC Globe, a world exclusive. This time, Phil asked for the masters for Horny Computer, and Lonzo said, yeah, I'll send them Monday, and we were just like, yeah, he's not going to send them, but he sent them, didn't he, Phil?
He did, yeah. It was kind of weird how that came up, wasn't it? Because I think how he maybe hinted at it, and I said, do you have like the original 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch tape of the studio sessions for World Class? And he goes, yeah, I have all of that. And I was like, oh, wow. And he goes, yeah, in fact, I had it all converted to digital. And I was like, okay. And that's when my eyes lit up and you could see what was coming next. And he said, yeah, the guy's remixing, I think he said, is it Nick the producer is remixing Juice or something he was mentioning. And I was like, oh, can I do a remix? And he was like, yeah, okay. I can't pay you. And I said, no, I'll do it for the show. You know, I'd love to do it for the show. It's just something to do. And he says, do you want Juice? And I was like, I'll have Horny Computer. That's, to me, I mean, I love Juice too, don't get me wrong. Juice is just such a great track, but if someone else is already doing that.
But for some people, it's a deep cut, right? You need the album, you had to have been a purist at the time. Don't go for the obvious. I was thinking, just get all the stems, get them all sent across, remix the lot. I wouldn't be able to help it, but are we going to play that today, Phil? Are we going to let our listeners hear the Bass Junkie remix of Horny Computer?
I should hope so, Billy, yeah. Spent quite a bit of time on it.
Yeah, you did, and absolutely, it's a fantastic remix. When I heard it, I nearly shit my pants. If I was any younger, I would have certainly been down on the floor. But if I went down on the floor now, I wouldn't get back up. Let's not wait till the end. Let's play it now. Let's play Horny Computer Bass Junkie remix.
I'm a horny computer.
This is Lonzo Williams, a.k.a. the Godfather of West Coast Hip Hop, telling my story of the beginning of West Coast Hip Hop. I know it's going to sound conceited and maybe untrue to some folks, but I am the root of West Coast Hip Hop. There's nobody before me. I'm not God, but ain't nobody before me. Ain't nobody still doing it like I'm doing it. Started back in 1976, fresh out of high school. I got a scholarship to go to a broadcast school, learn how to be a broadcaster on the radio. And that all came from the fact that back in the day in Compton, all the parks had dances all the time. And they were mostly sponsored by radio stations. Radio stations at that time was a station called KGFJ. And as a young 13, 14-year-old kid going to these dances, I saw that instant gratification that the DJs got. And I wanted to get that myself. But because there was no such thing as a mobile DJ outside of a radio station, I thought you had to work for a radio station to get a job working at the park. So an opportunity came around for me to be a radio DJ. I took it, got a broadcast license, third-class broadcast license. And this is middle of the disco era. And when the teacher asked me, at that time, all the DJs on the radio had their own little names or whatever. And he asked me what my name was going to be. I said, I think I'm going to go with Disco Lonzo. Had a nice little ring to it. And again, middle of the disco era, Fly Robin Fly, Donna Summers, Bee Gees, they were all all the hottest artists of that time. And it worked out real well for a while. And my partner, his dad owned a print shop. And the old man would let me go through his orders. And anytime I ran across a wedding reception or a family reunion, I hit him up, hey, y'all got a DJ yet? And back then, nobody was people were not into DJs. They would just assume put some music on the stereo. Oh, you're a DJ? Yeah. I wouldn't charge me like $50. So I was working. I stayed busy. Then I eventually got to 60. I got to 150. I thought I was, baddest cat in the world for $150. And that went on for a while. And shortly after that, I met a couple of gentlemen, Roger Clayton and Andre Manuel. And the three of us were probably the OG pioneers of West Coast hip hop. The three of us started doing different things, moving towards the hip hop era. We all gave dances, but again, we were giving dances, playing R&B music, playing a lot of Rick James, Prince, Parliament Funkadelic, Slave, Slide, all those records. One of the things I would do just to drum up business or just have something to do, I would go out on a Sunday evening or Saturday afternoon and just plug up my system and play in the park. Just play in the park for free. Nobody pass out flyers, either DJ, or I would do it as a pre-party for a dance that was going on that night, or the after party from a dance that happened the night before. So I got very popular real fast and got a job at a record shop, a record distributor called Record Shack, and that's where I learned record distribution. And while working there, Roger got a job there. I got Roger a job there from Uncle Jam's Army, and he had the idea to start doing Alpine Village over in Torrance. And because I'm the only one that had a DJ, I had a sound system at the time, he hired me. And we started doing the Alpine Village together. I was a DJ, he was a promoter. And shortly after that, and my company at that time was Disco Construction, because one of my favorite bands still today was Brass Construction, big brass band out of New York. I love them, Sky, and all those guys, all those big bands back in the day. That was a great era for music for me. So I named my company Disco Construction because I would build a party anywhere you had electricity. That was my line. Have sound, will travel. I got a business card. That was my tagline. Have sounds, will travel. Started doing Alpine Village together, and his partner, a guy named Gid Martin, referred me to a young lady who was looking to do some dancing at the Alpine Village to make some money, and she needed a DJ. He referred me, not knowing that this situation would be a part of history. She hired me, and I started working with her, and she was a pretty girl. I mean, pretty lady. She's a little older than me, but she was fine to me. And I was trying to do other things besides business, but we never crossed that line. We never crossed that line. And but when it came time, I had the opportunity to do the Eve After Dark. My dad came by the house one day, saw me with a pile of money, thought I was selling dope. You gotta understand, I was always under the guide rails of my dad. I couldn't sell dope. I couldn't get on no kind of welfare. I forgot to tell you, fresh out of high school, I had a daughter. Graduation, that was my graduation gift. I graduated on June the 12th. She was born on June the 11th. I turned 18 on June the 16th. So the 10-day period, my whole life changed completely. I didn't have time to go to the picnics. My old man was like, no, you got to go find you a job. You got a kid. He would not let me go on any type of welfare. He would not, no, you can't do that. You better not sell no dope. So I was on this little perimeter, and I learned a lot of skills at an early age, growing up in being a baby boomer, growing up in Compton schools. We learned welding and how to woodwork. My old man was always good with his hands. So I built me a DJ stand and started doing parts. He was my first and only investor at that time. He helped me buy 2 turntables. I borrowed his credit card to buy 2 Sanyo belt drive turntables. One I still have to this day. Still got it. It's in the room next door. And I would hit the road. Like I said, my partner's dad gave me access to his order list, and I started soliciting gigs. And I started being very popular. And when my Genie came along as an investor, we started doing the Alpine. Alpine blew up for us as well. My dad knew his partner had just built the 2nd floor of his club, a banquet hall. And when he came by to saw me with all this money, he thought I was selling dope. I said, no, I'm not selling no dope. Come by Alpine Village, see what I'm doing. And, that way you won't kill me. He saw what we were doing, loved what we were doing, but he thought that the finances were crazy. Guy was charging like $800 or $900 a night to rent one night. My old man was like, nah, one night? And my old man's rent was like $85. I mean, his house note was like $85. $1,000 a night, he had a fit. So he turned me on to his friend, Jeffrey Harris, who had just built the 2nd floor over his club. That was a banquet hall. And that was the introduction to the Eve After Dark. And I don't know if I told you guys last time, but the Eve After Dark documentary was on Tubi. And so when Dre did that thing at Super Bowl 2022, that just gave us a whole new light. So going back, Eve After Dark became the spot, man. It became the spot for everybody. Everybody, before they were successful. LA Dream Team at Eve After Dark. Before they were successful, Egyptian Lover at Eve After Dark. So I was the man. 1979, hip hop had just started to pop its head up in LA. We had Curtis Blow's Christmas rapping. We had just got Sugar Hill Gang, Rapper's Delight, around 81, I think it was. We brought in Curtis Blow. He had just dropped the brakes. That combined with us bringing Cameo in for a guest appearance in 79 made Eve After Dark the hottest spot in the city for a long time. And the fact that we had after hours just made us the spot. We did close sometime to 6 o'clock in the morning. We opened at 10. We opened at 9 initially, and nobody ever showed up. Then we started doing this 99-cent thing for the kids. 9 to 9:30, it was 99 cents on Friday nights. We have them lined up like it was free cheese. And on Saturday nights, we opened at 10, and we advertised from 10 to 6. And trust me, many a night we saw the sun come up from the windows of Eve After Dark, okay? And if nothing was happening, we closed about 4:30, 5 o'clock. That gave us something nobody else had. So when all the promoters, all the dance promoters, Uncle Jam's Army, Z-Cars, they all rented hotels. You got to be out by 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I sent my guys down to whatever venue they were at, pass out after party flyers. You bring me a ticket stub, bring me this flyer, get into the E for $3. So we get a whole new resurgence after 1 o'clock. And that just was a marketing campaign that just worked for us that nobody could compete with. Nobody could compete with. Only club that had after hours other than us was the Carolina West, and guys had to be 21 to get into Carolina West. And it was on the other side of town. And if you lived in Compton, Watts, on the south side of town, the Eve was the spot to go to for after hours. We had the hottest jocks, we had the prettiest girls, and we stayed open the longest, the latest. And it just put us into a great position. After at some point in time, like anything, it slowed down. So I started bringing in acts like Run D and Curtis Blow, Run DMC. And I brought Run DMC into the club. They did okay, but they kind of pissed me off because one, Run just dropped a mic thing. He broke one of my only mic. I only had 2 microphones. He broke one of them. And the show he did was only like 15, 20 minutes. And pissed me off. They played at Uncle Jam's Army set the next night. And Uncle Jam's Army was my straight competition. It wasn't no love between the two of us at all. And that was my partner, Roger, but he branched off and became Uncle Jam's Army. And I brought Run DMC in to compete with them to offset whatever losses I may have taken that night. But then I got a double hit because they messed around and played over there. And then when I hit Roger up about, hey man, can you jump on some of these airplane tickets I bought or hotels? Oh, hell no, I ain't buying shit. So I really was pissed. So I told him I wasn't booking no more New York acts, and I was going to start my own group. And that's how the World Class Wreckin Cru got formed.
Give me some juice. Don't be afraid.
The licensing laws in LA, you couldn't stay open as long as you wanted, Lonzo?
Hell no. It's the Eve After Dark sits in what they call an unincorporated part of Los Angeles. There's pockets of LA that are unincorporated. They're not a part of the city. They're only part of the county. And they never had the same laws. And in the city, everything had to be closed by 2 o'clock, 1:45. In the county, they said no jukebox or live entertainment past 2 o'clock. They never said DJ. So until they caught us, we ran with it. We never got a ticket. Never, but it wasn't until me and a cop got into it, and he realized that most of the time he came to see me was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. He looked up the ordinance, and he made it his personal business to have DJ added to that ordinance. And shortly after that, we had to close at 2 o'clock like everybody else. But by that time, I'd already made up my mind to go to Dudo's anyway. Dudo's was right around the corner, but it was in Compton. It was in Compton, right next to Pyru, the mecca of all things blood from the Blood Gang. Okay, and but because I had a lot of connections in the city, one being my cousin was on the Compton Police Department. He ran the security for the swap meet, which consisted of Reggie Wright Sr., the father of Reggie Wright Jr. of Death Row, and he was also he was in charge of the gang detail. By having him on my team, I didn't have no problem because he knew all the gangsters. All the gangsters knew him. So he knew, hey man, don't cause no problems. You know you are. I'm already watching you. Whatever language he used, it kept us in good graces at Dudo's. And later, Craig Schlesinger, who owns Skateland, which is right next door to Dudo's, hired me to do the grand opening and to promote Skateland as well. So I got Dudo's on Friday night and Skateland on Saturday night. Something nobody ever did. I'm probably one of the only promoters that had a situation like that consistently. I mean, literally, I'd have you dancing on Fridays, skating on Saturdays. Later on, I had the Eve After Dark. I went back to the Eve back in 2008. I had upstairs, downstairs, and I had a club at the Proud Bird. So I was doing three venues a night. So these are just some of the unknown history of Lonzo and why I'm the Godfather of West Coast hip hop.
Dr. Dre in surgery. He has a PhD in mixology to cut on the wheel so viciously. Boom boom goes the beat to rock the nation. Freaks receive mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Come here, freak. Losa MC. Dr. Dre operate in surgery. Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre, 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 Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre, 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 Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre, Dr. Dre, Dr. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Records, mixer, turntables, speakers. Records, mixer, turntables, speakers.
Dr. Dre will reach into his bag of tricks and without hesitation pull a master mix to caress your body, possess your mind, because he rocks in a key that's oh so fine.
I'm Dr. Dre, gorgeous hunk of a man, doing tricks on the mix that no others can. The nurses say I'm cute, they say I'm fine, so you better beware because I'll blow your mind.
The master of disaster, the Wreckin Cru's blaster. When he's on the wheels, nobody cuts faster. You said you're hurt, you said you're ill. Well, this is one time you can't use a pill.
The Wreckin Cru is on your mind, with Dr. Dre Button, oh so fine. So if you have an emergency, just call Dr. Dre to surgery.
Yo, seems to be a problem on the back dance floor.
What is it?
Man, the freaks ain't freaking.
No problem. Give me 1200 cc's of Technique, 1150 cc's of Newmark.
Newmark?
Yeah, Newmark. 4 doses of CBB35, 750 cc's of BGW, and stand back.
Can I ask you, Lonzo, so whilst you're doing that on the weekends, what are you doing in the week? Are you recording? Then is this at like the time when World Class Wreckin Cru comes together and like your weekends are spent, you guys are all DJing or performing, and then in the week, are you in your studio in your house creating new music? Or
it all depends. Sometimes if we're on the road, we probably take off Monday, Tuesday, start rehearsing again on Saturday, on Wednesday. Usually we would work as Wreckin Cru. We work Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, or Sunday would be a travel day. We get back Sunday, go our separate ways. Everybody, do their personal stuff on Monday and Tuesday. I see them again on maybe Wednesday, sometimes Tuesday. And we just hang out, come to the studio, and figure out different things to do and ways to improve the show and record, depending on what we're doing. It all depends on who was around.
So your studio, it was all like you've said before, a lot of people have come through your studio, a lot of artists on the West Coast. You've had them all there. I mean, could you give us a list, if you can remember, some of the key players? And I mean, I'm going way back as well from the beginning. So like the electro-y sort of funk days all the way up through the 80s.
Coolio was a regular. DJ Pooh, of course, Q. Dee Barnes almost lived here. She was a part of Body and Soul, and she was also the host of Pump It Up, the television show. Def Jeff, one of her producers who was here on a regular basis. Of course, Dr. Dre, a young Warren G, Eazy-E, DJ Ren. In fact, I don't remember Ren being here, but I saw Ren at the Grammy Awards. The Grammy Awards. And I actually remember, you ever at my house? Yeah, bro, I was there all the time. But Ren is very low key, so it's very possible. JJ Fad would fall through from time to time. LA Dream Team come through. The Uzi Brothers. A lot of names that I mentioned to you. Candyman was a regular. Knocking the Boots. Candyman. In fact, I still got his masters in my closet in there. I mean, that's just a few of the people I can think of off the top of my head. Battle Cat, a young, skinny Battle Cat, was a regular guy here. He when Dre left the crew, and joined the NWA, Battle Cat came in and became my DJ and an in-house producer here at the studio. MC8 and Compton's Most Wanted. All those folks started out here. I mean, just everything out of Compton pretty much came through here.
So DJ in Effect was recorded in your studio then?
DJ in Effect was recorded right here. I'm looking at a copy of it right now.
There was a kind of rivalry between you and Roger, right? Friendly rivalry, would you say?
Yeah, man, because me and Roger, we're day ones. There's only three day ones on West Coast hip hop. Me, Roger, and Unknown DJ. So we've always had a love-hate competition relationship. It was never hate. A couple times I wanted to whoop his ass, but for the most part, we'd always work it out. I never put hands on him. But I was contrary to what people think, because I didn't join the NWA, I was always the gangster, the ones that whooped their ass and got into fights and shit back in the day. But as I got older, I realized that wasn't the way to resolve your problems. You had to, use your words instead of your fists. But back in the day, I was the one that was quick to put hands on people.
So other people coming through, did Unknown ever use your studio as well, or where was?
At one point in time, Unknown actually had subbed a room in my studio to create the Compton's Most Wanted album.
Right, okay, and that's with Slip, isn't it? DJ Slip as well.
Yeah, DJ Slip, and because DJ Slip came in with Compton's Most Wanted, and they did the Compton compilation. Then Compton's Most Wanted and PG-13 got picked up for deals on that particular from that compilation album. Unknown bought a 1-inch 24-track studio, a Tascam 24-track 1-inch, and he went part of my studio to do the album, and everybody was here.
So was all the techno cut stuff recorded in your, so like is it Kina Ante or Kina Ante, the Mistress of the Boom, and was the X-Men stuff?
Some of it was, but some of it was, that might have been before or after, because after a while, Slip bought his own big mixing board. He bought like a Trident board, and so that kind of outweighed Unknown's 24 tracks. Some of I can't exactly say exactly what. I know some of it was done here for sure. Just don't know which tracks were exactly ones that were done here. Yella came to a recommendation. I was having problems with some promoters covering over my posters, and Uncle Jam's Army was one of those groups. Roger was one of those groups, and I wanted to send a message to all these promoters: leave my posters alone. Because Eve After Dark promoted using posters every week. We had a custom color, we had a standing order at the poster shop, and we had certain areas that we covered every week. And people were coming in intruding on my areas, and I wanted somebody to send a message. And a friend of mine, Phil Luke, referred DJ Yella. Yella had a car, and he was a young DJ trying to get onto a crew. And I said, hey, man, let me holler at you. I gave him an assignment to go snatch out all promoters' posters. I'm going to pay you $0.25 per poster. Yella came back with every kind of poster known to man. The promoters' posters, house for sale, cleaning business, dogs lost, whatever. He brought back all kind of posters. And the second thing happened that was really unique. He wasn't a DJ. He wasn't scheduled to be a DJ initially, but the same day Yella joined us, say on the first of the month, the second week of the month, my number one DJ, besides me, Dr. Rock, disappeared. He moved to Texas. So I gave Yella a chance to DJ in his slot, and he took it, and he did good. So I let him have that prime slot. Because at that time, I was more focused on the management. I still kept a DJ slot for the most part, but I didn't DJ as much as I started off doing. At first, I started doing everything. Then as the guys got better, I would give them opportunity. So Yella came in, started DJing. He got the prime slot. From prime slotted to Eve was 11 to 1. And Clientele came in shortly after that. Clientele won a rap contest I sponsored. I liked what he was like. Hey, let me holler at you for a minute. So I got him and Yella, and we made our first record together, Slice. And then about 6 months, maybe a little bit shortly after that, Dre shows up with Easy at the front door. Everybody know the story. And I wouldn't let him in because they wasn't dressed right. But eventually Dre got his gear together. I let him in, and he ended up on the turntables. And he never asked me, but I think he talked to Unknown. I'm not sure because it was hard. I would never trust somebody on my turntables on a Saturday night. No way in the world would I do that. He had to go through Unknown because it was actually Unknown's shift at that time. Who the fuck is that on my turntables? Okay, I was pissed. Who the fuck is that? Who was that little skinny kid on my shit? But he had a good little mix going, and I left him alone, and we started talking about it.
But all they had was Thunderbird 1979. Tall, dark, and lovely, 5'8" in a camisole. House
In the film Straight Outta Compton, right, you're walking about and you're saying, I'm sick of all this reality rap. Is that a fair representation?
Hell no. I want people to stop and think for a minute. I am a reality rap fanatic, but I told reality rap from a soul perspective. Turn Off the Lights was a reality rap. That actually happened to me. And when I wrote that song, we were kind of on the outs, and nobody wanted to write it. Nobody wanted to be a part of it. But it was something that happened to me. I wrote everybody's part. And in the movie, they act like I was some kind of hater of music or rap or whatever. And that's impossible. I could not be who I am if I had any kind of reservations on anything, okay? I've always been an open-minded person, and just because I didn't understand it, don't mean I didn't like it or to give it an opportunity. What was really crazy is most of the stuff that they said happened in the movie never happened. You'll never see, at that time, you'll never see alcohol anywhere around there. Never. Nobody drank, especially not yellow. I didn't drink. I'm from the nightclub era, and I'm not a big drinker right now. I will, but I'm not a big drinker. But for every scene you saw us in the movie, we had alcohol in our hand. For me to cuss out Dre and them like that, it never happened. It never happened. But again, if you understand movies, there has to be an antagonist at some point in time. And I was an early antagonist, and Suge came along, and Jerry Heller came along. And that's it. It made the movie work. But in real life, I was like, come on in. What do you do? The scenario that I cussed Dre out for, and I was combing my hair in the mirror, the scenario, that never happened. Cute never played that. Cute never did that at the club. But what did happen, Dre had recorded a song for Jinx, his cousin Jinx. The record was called Fuck All Them Hoes. And it was a nasty record. And because I had cops working for me, I had just got through talking to one of the cops about sports or something like that. The same cop that I just got through talking to came looking for me with a cop look on his face. Like, Lonzo, you got in my face. We just got through talking maybe 10 minutes prior to just laughing and kicking it. All of a sudden, Lonzo, I can arrest you right now. For what? For contributing to the delinquency of a minor. What did I do? You let him play that record, all that cussing in it, in front of all these kids. Because Dudos, unlike Eve After Dark, had a lower age limit. Dudos was 3 times bigger than Eve After Dark. I had more space, and Compton allows you to have teen dances. So Eve After Dark Dudos was more of a teen club than a teen event than Eve After Dark, where it was more of 18 and over. So I got all these kids, I got parents dropping off kids like it's romper room. And the cop was like, dude, you are contributing to the delinquency of a minor, which it's a misdemeanor, but it was a case back in 85, 86 that you could get jammed for. When he jammed me up, I jammed Dre up.
I mean, did you go to the premiere of the NWA film?
Yes, I did.
And did you enjoy it, even though it was misrepresenting you? Or were you angry about the misrepresentation, or did you just go with the flow? Or, I mean, how was it?
Any publicity is good publicity. And even though they kind of misrepresented me in the movie, that's okay. I got you and everybody else asking me the same questions about that movie. So it keeps me relevant. They could have did me like Arabian Prince, not even mentioned him. JJ Fad, not mentioned. Michelet, not mentioned. But because I was mentioned, because I had a character, although it was kind of misconstrued in the movie, I still kept me relevant. I took the opportunity to write a book called NWA. Now I was on Alonzo on Amazon. So, this is something I learned over the years. When you see something you don't like, you don't panic, you pivot. And by pivoting, I took that and I made a sub-career out of just doing interviews. I go to colleges and speak. I do interviews all the time. So people ask me the same question. They ask me 3 questions. Straight out of Compton. What was Dre like when he was a kid? And my Jerry curl. Those are 3 most regular questions I always answer.
nothing can compete with the sound of Dre's beat. Dre's beat. Dre's beat. Dre's beat. Dre's beat. Dre's beat is the beat that makes you freak. The jam, so tough, guaranteed to move your feet. It's the beat you got to have, the beat you got to keep. Cause nothing can compete with the sound of Dre's beat. Dre's beat.
You came over to the UK Fresh 86. I was there, but I was only there for the afternoon, and you guys were on in the evening, and I was so gutted that I wasn't going to get to see you perform. You and Mantronics were the two bands that I really wanted to see, but I didn't get to see either of you. But you, tell us about your experience at UK Fresh 86 and coming over to the UK.
Man, that was a life-changing experience for me, because I never been treated like that before. You know, in Compton, you're at home. You're just, hey, that's Lonzo, that's Yellow, that's Dre. But over there, man, we're treated like the Beatles, dude. We were received very well. I mean, everywhere we went, it was a great reception. Only person got a bigger reception than us was Africa Bambaataa. He was a part of that tour as well. Nobody knew who Mix-a-Lot was yet. You know, Mix-a-Lot was an opening act. That show did something for me as a manager or a group leader that I'm glad I learned. I had a backup show, because at that show, you guys, electricity is different from ours. And they told us, don't plug up the system till you talk to us first. And Yellow plugged that shit in and it blew it up. And I always kept a backup tape. And we had to pay for my backup tape that night. But we still did a great show. Same exact show, but we had to pay for my tape as opposed to my machines. And it just, you know, even before, during, and after, I mean, the response was fantastic. We played Lovers. I mean, damn. It was George Michael and stuff. Man. It was huge. We had digital MIDI-driven band. Nobody played live, but we had instruments that was controlled by a computer that played all the drums, all the keyboards. Now we could always improvise, but most of the time we didn't. Okay, Yellow could go on the drum machine, add some fills, maybe add a hit or two from something like that. My guitar between me, you, and this Zoom call was never plugged up. I just refused to stand on stage and not do anything. I'm doing the performance. I'm a part of the scenery. Okay, I had a couple of lines on Lovers. I did background vocals, but at that time, my ego would not let me not be a part of that. I'm not paying all this money to sit on the sideline and watch y'all have all this fun. I'm not doing that. So I had to have some fun like everybody else, man. When we got to Eve After Dark, at some point in time, the Wreckin Cru got more popular than Disco Construction. So I just pivoted and just made the Wreckin Cru the focus and included everybody in the Wreckin Cru, the cashiers, the cleanup guys, the DJs. We were the Wreckin Cru, and Unknown was a member of the Wreckin Cru as a part of the DJ crew, and he ran the soda bar at Eve After Dark, and he also did promotions. So we started making records, and he wanted to stay solo. And I'm cool. And hey, man, you grown man, do what you want to do. So we did one song that never came out called the EAD Rap. We never released it, though. He was on that. And after that, we were Wreckin Cru for one song, and that was Slice. And then we got a cease and desist order letter from a lawyer saying you couldn't use the term Wreckin Cru, because there was another group out of Detroit that was called the Wreckin Cru. It was 1984, middle of the Olympics. And I kept hearing this phrase, world class swimmer, world class runners, world class this. I called my lawyer. I said, hey, man, if we add the word world class and mess up the spelling, that's why there's no G and the CRU. Can we use that? He said, sure, that'll work. And that's how you got World Class Wreckin Cru. Daryl Davis, before we started making records, we were all dance promoters, all of us. And Daryl Davis hand drew all the flyers for our dances. And because I did more dances than anybody else, because technically the Eve, they call it the club, we treated it like it was a weekly dance, okay? That was our perception. We treated it like it was a weekly dance. We never got comfortable as far as just laying off the advertising. We had to pump out something every week. So Daryl would do all the graphics for all our flyers. And when we started making records, he did all our album covers. He did Slice, he did Surgery, Juice, House Calls, all the greatest hits albums, the logo for Wreckin Cru. He did everything. And he got so popular that Unknown, it met him through me. And he started doing all stuff for Techno Hop, all the Unknown, DJ, X-Band, Daryl did all that stuff. But he's also a musician. DJ Facade with Unknown, yes. Daryl did his flyers. He did them on a whiteboard. And back then he had rub-on stencil letters he would use for some of the graphics. And at one point in time, that stuff just started falling off. Only thing that stayed was the handwritten stuff. So it kind of lost its zeal. So I had the copies of it made. I had copies of the flyers made that I used for promotions for different schools. And the one thing about Daryl, at that time, everything was hand drawn. Only thing he didn't hand draw when it came to the lettering, he had a little stencil kit he could use to rub on the letters. But all the actual artwork, the hands and the cards and the people were all hand drawn.
We have a mission for the World Class Wreckin Cru. Your mission, if you decide to accept it, is to take rap music into a new dimension. If any of your world class members are caught or captured, the secretary will disavow any knowledge of your action. Book him, murder one. Book him, murder one. Book him, murder one. Book him, murder one.
They say it was impossible, but the World Class Cru gave it a go. We knew it was risky, but we took the chance. The mission was to make the whole world dance. They sent us a tape that would soon destruct. They gave us a map and wished us good luck. So here we are in the place to be. Now come on, everybody, repeat after me.
Rock, rock, rock the house.
No, break the house.
Rock, rock, rock the house.
No, break the house.
Rock, rock, rock the house.
No, break the house.
Rock, rock, rock the house.
No, break the house. and shake, and the whole place feels like a big earthquake. You look for shelter, but there's nowhere to run. So repeat after me if you like what we done.
Rock, rock, rock the house.
No, wreck the house.
Rock, rock, rock the house. No.
We know what K-Day was a very unique situation, and I'll never think of that. It's one of those perfect storm situations, man. Perfect storm. I was using K-Day for my advertising for KGLA for Eve After Dark. I started off with another radio station, K-Ace, over in Watts, and they didn't play hip hop, and it was a good station. And then KGFJ, and then we were about to show. We started using K-Day because we had a good relationship with the guy before Greg Mack, Steve Woods, the program director, and Rory Kaufman. They were all the public community relations people at K-Day. So we were about to we were shutting the Eve down, moving to Dudos, and my sales rep told me about this new guy coming to town to be a DJ, but he's also soon going to be the program director, Greg Mack. And she set up a meeting between me and Greg Mack, and I played Greg some of my mixes. I was doing underground mixes, D-Rocks, Cut Up, House Party. All those are mine too. So all those are mine. Okay, I did all those. My name's not on them, but trust me, I got the plates to prove it. Okay, and Greg loved them. He thought, "Oh my God, what is this? I mean, we do these at the sale. These at the swap meet. I want this for my radio show every day. I need a new one every day. What?" So we cut a deal. Well, Greg would give us new music and the tape from the production room at K-Day, and in exchange for us doing the mixes, and he would plug us before and after the Traffic Jam. Traffic Jam was brought to you by the World Class Wreckin Cru. You can see them live at Dudos Music Center, 135th and Central every Friday. World Class Wreckin Cru live at Dudos Music Center. That's all it said. Before and after. And that alone reduced my promotion budget to zero, and I spent no more money on advertising because that blew us up. So it was worth it for me. It worked, and it gave us a lot of exposure, and it made me and Greg have a good relationship because now he's doing something nobody's done before. 15-minute Traffic Jam every day, fresh music. He's breaking records for record companies, getting them exposed in that Traffic Jam. We're getting plugged. It was a great situation. And then he started bringing us, he would give us acts to bring to Dudos. He was giving us acts to bring to Dudos. We had Mary Jane Girls, we had Jermaine Stewart, Midnight Star, all kind of people came. LL Cool J, a young 17-year-old LL Cool J came to Dudos. But the one group that just blew it up to no end, I didn't know much about them at that time because I really wasn't into the group, to the music they had. Greg gave a contest at Fremont High School here in L.A. Whoever had the best something or another won a concert with New Edition. And I negotiated to get Wreckin Cru to be the opening act for New Edition. So we provided, we did the sound, we had a sound company. We did the sound, did the opening act, and then did the after party at Dudos. Gerald Busby was behind him as well. He was a big, and Gerald Busby was a friend of mine. He sent us New Edition, and New Edition at Dudos was just a phenomenal event for the guys loved it. We loved it. We made a lot of money. Greg made money. I made money. It was all good. Then we were doing Skateland. We started doing Skateland shortly after that. So it's just the whole era. I mean, K-Day was a big part of the whole movement to bring hip hop to take root. You know, me and Roger ran the streets. But because Roger and I have different kind of personalities, I was more open to working with Greg. Roger told Greg he didn't need it. I'm like, come on, man, let's make something happen. That's always been my attitude. How we gonna make something happen? And we made magic happen at Dudos, and Greg later come on. They later helped open up Skateland, and it just made for a great situation. And Greg being on the radio, us in the streets. So soon we made a record. I would take it to Greg, take a cassette to K-Day. And before I could get on the freeway, it would be on the air. They would piss off the manufacturer because it takes 7 days to get a record done. From the time it's completed to the time you get your mastering, your plates, your labels, and your first test pressing, it's 5 to 7 days if you're lucky. So people were asking for the record, but you couldn't find it nowhere. And that was a good thing because we created a big demand, but it also was a bad thing because sometimes we would have more of a demand, and people would get, people would move on to something else by the time the record came out. But overall, it was a great relationship that helped mold and found West Coast hip hop. And like I said, I was the first meeting Greg had when he came to California. He didn't know Roger, he knew me. He met me first. We went out to lunch. He had a big old yellow Cadillac and cowboy boots. Never forget how long I lived, looking like Yosemite Sam. But it's all good. It was the best and the worst thing that happened to West Coast hip hop, because we didn't have any other options, and he had an open door policy to everybody that wanted to make a record. He had the presses. He had a label. He was right next door. I mean, literally, there was a door that went between him and the label maker, and the plating company was around the corner from my house. Daryl Davis was all close. So for me, making records was a lot of fun because it gave me something to do when I wasn't doing nothing else. I mean, we go to the studio, make the record. My job was to get up the next morning and go get it mastered. The mastered is when they take it and put it on the big lathe and cut the grooves into it so they can take it to the plating house and make the plates. How many grooves are on an album on a 12-inch? Most people, it's 5 cuts and now it's 1 groove. Okay, we just designed do all the labels, do the covers. I mean, it was a process, man. It was an enjoyable process, and it gave you a reason to get up in the morning, because as soon as everything was done, now you got to go hit your stores and your stores, a few radio stations. And because my last job that I had as a employee, I worked for a record distributor. My job was to call stores and sell records over the phone. All the local mom and pop stores, we had one stop back then, even a couple of distributors. So I kept the list, I kept those relationships. So when I started selling my bootlegs, I sold to those stores. When I started selling my legitimate records, I sold to those stores. When Eazy-E wanted to get Rufus off the ground, I introduced him to those people. My industry relationships helped mold West Coast hip hop. That's something people don't always relate. Nobody else has done that. Nobody else had that kind of relationship. Everybody came to Lonzo to get into the swap meet, because the swap meet, you couldn't just go sell records at the swap meet. Somebody had to introduce you to Mr. Park and vouch for you, because records are 100% returnable. So if I give you cash today for these records and they don't sell, where you gonna be in 3 weeks or a month? I don't know you. So I might take them on consignment, which means you gotta come back and get your money if they sell. But most cats don't have that option because of my relationship with Mr. Park he'll buy 10 records from you, see if they pay you for them. And that's how easy he got into the swap meet. The once these records sold, he was able to go in there and sell them direct to Mr. Park himself. But in order to get into the swap meet, you had to know somebody. You had to know Lonzo. Same thing with the rodeo. Steve Yano. I met him out selling bootlegs. I thought he was an FBI agent. I never met an Asian guy selling music before. I'm going to sell the records, and the guy, and he was there, and the guy was like, I saw him. I said, oh, shit. I turned back and walked out. What? The guy said, where you going, Lonzo? I said, man, I don't know him. Oh, he's cool. I don't know him. And Steve saw what I was selling. I've been looking for you. No, you ain't? Yes, I have. Little did I know he ran the swap meet. He became one of my biggest customers. He would come to my house and pick it. I would have to put a special order just for the swap meet. These are the kind of things that I've done over the years that coordinated the whole effort behind the scenes of developing West Coast hip hop. Greg Mack, Steve Gano, Cletus Anderson, the VIP. You couldn't just walk into VIP and sell no records, but because they knew me, they would buy from me. And it just, that's part of the roots that nobody knows. I have to tell the story because nobody knows how deep I go into this hip hop. competition between Uncle Jam's Army and Wreckin' Cru. It got pretty intense. Egypt had dropped Egypt. That was a big record. I can't take that from it. Big record, so a lot of copies. And we dropped Surgery. It did good. Not as good as Egypt. So I had to come up with some way to one up these guys, because that's how we did it. What I'm gonna do to one up you. We're gonna do the first West Coast album, period. And the first West Coast ballad, Lovers. So we went in the studio, I had the money. Even After Dark always made me money. So I went to the studio and made the album. Well, I bought an Oberheim keyboard system, and we went to the studio and made the album. And as soon as we made the album, we went on tour. While we were on tour, we get a call. I get a call. Hey, man, Epic want to give you guys a record deal. Do they really? They want to meet with you guys. So they called a meeting. They met with me, Wreckin' Cru, Bobby Jimmy and the Critters, LA Dream Team, and Egyptian Lover. All 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. We got the record deal because we had the most versatility. And when they signed us, first thing they asked, do I have any more groups? Now, technically, I didn't. But I remember this group I saw we was a judge for the Best of the West contest. I saw this group that Dre's cousin was in. It was called Stereo Crew, which featured Ice Cube. So when I saw that, I'm like, they lost the contest, but they got a record deal anyway through me and Sony. So Sony signed they signed them to a single deal, and they signed us to an album deal. That was an experience I've never had before, because now, CBS gave us a record deal, and unlike Macola, there was no release dates. Whenever you finished the record, there was a release date. That was the release date. The day you finished it was the day you released it. Okay. CBS had a long line of release dates. At that time, they had Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye, Tina Marie, everybody. Michael Jackson was on. Everybody was on that label, which was impressive. But you had to stand in line, and I wasn't used to standing in line. I was never used to standing in line. Cola had me spoiled. If I finish a record at midnight on Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to the Clayton House. So they gave us a big old fat check. I kid when I say this, that was the worst money I got in my life, because they romanced your ass, get you in, and once they got you in, sit your ass down. Okay, go sit down. We get back to you in a minute. And that was the attitude. So by the time our record came out, they signed us in '86. They signed us in '85, November '85. '86, we did the album over the holiday between November and January. That's the romance. Turned it in, got our money, and it didn't come out until July. No, then they dropped us. Then I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do. So then we made House Calls and the Cabbage Patch and Must Be the Music. Went back to Macola, and we also did the CIA album, the Crew in Action album, 12-inch. And Macola took all the money. Then we owed him money from the Wrapped and Wrote Me for the World Class album. And when I found out he was holding reserves, he recalled all our records after we left, but he was still selling them. He didn't tell us he was selling them. So I went and took all my product back and gave him the money from those two sales, and then came back to turn off the light. But by that time, everybody was pissed off because we didn't get no money from House Calls and Cabbage Patch.
My posse,
Mike on D1. Right.
My posse,
Mike on D3. Right.
My posse,
Mike B42. Right.
My posse,
Mike on D1. Right.
My posse,
Mike on D1. Right.
My posse,
Mike B43. Right.
My posse,
Mike B42. Right.
My posse,
Mike on D1.
Right. My posse, my posse.
Posse's getting big. Posse's getting big.
My posse. My posse.
Posse's getting big, and my posse's getting bigger.
Ice Cube in effect, and I'm the posse leader. Love my whooper and hate my tweeter. Rap don't sing, and groupies do flock. Gold rings and things, keep the gullies on my job. Posse 2 Kid D is cunning. It's all about girls and making cash money. Crenshaw is where I chill. Never ever sick, but always ill. Surgeons, no debating. Beats I cut, keep the whoopers vibrating. Third to the cut, but that's alright, cause CIA is on the mic.
My posse, My posse.
Posse's getting big. Posse's getting big.
My posse. My posse.
Posse's getting big and my posse's getting bigger.
Females on my tip, and it ain't funny.
Why?
I don't know, probably cause I got money. Don't want me, just want my riches. Things like that keep stitches on my bitches. I wear all 501s, many wear Adidas, but I have none. Feelers I'm cooling, girls are drooling, ruling all classes cause I am schooling. Yes, boy, and I am with it. Reaching for the crown, and I damn so get it. Be the king, rap don't sing, and when I come around, here's who I'll bring.
My posse. My posse.
Posse's getting big and my posse's getting bigger.
My posse. My posse.
Posse's getting big. Sheriff's posse's on my tail.
My posse.
Mike on D1. Right.
My posse.
Might be for trees. Right.
My posse.
Might be for tools. Right.
My posse.
Mike on D1. Posse on the boulevard with fly girls. Fresh feeler gear and my hair in curls. We'll get a motel, but I'm too cheap. About to let her have it in the back seat. Jake's getting ill, and I assume this girl won't go to the motel room. Me in the back seat, turn up the sound, but my man KD nowhere to be found. He's a bump and drag, and it ain't no joke. If I had to pay attention, she'll wind up broke. Talking quite dirty, and that's the clue. Started kissing and hugging on Posse 2. Headed for the skirt, had to admit it. Willa not ill, and she was damn sure with it. Whispering in my ear, talking that sex. Hurry up in the back, homeboy, I'm next. Jinx teed off, cause my girl's no fun. I'm the only one that's on a dry run. She had a beef, I had a gripe, but I heard different. She's not that tight. I dissed her and dismissed her, threw her out of the place. Start popping that trash, threw my hand in her face. Grabbed another girl who loved the posse. Headed to the Fox and the rest history.
My posse. My posse.
Posse's getting big and my posse's getting bigger.
My posse. My posse.
Posse's getting big. Sheriff's posse's on my tail. Posse's getting big. Posse's getting big.
We needed $4,000 to distribute We Are the World. And me and Unknown was talking about it. Unknown heard it first. I'm like, why would Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones need us to distribute their products? Why would you tell that big ass lie? It made no sense. And $4,000, we all, at that time, we all had money up the ass. I'm touring. Wreckin' Cru I'm touring. I'm still touring with doing Wreckin' Cru. I'm still selling my records. We left Macola, but I took all my catalog with me. So I'm still selling records around the country. I'm still doing shows. He had some major success, but ain't nowhere in the world we all broke and he's the only one got some money to do. No, that's some bullshit right there. I'm sorry. I tell him to me that's straight bullshit. And for the record, for the international record, Lonzo created West Coast record distributors. Me and Unknown were the last ones to leave Macola. When Macola shut down, we were the last ones to leave. We had formed a little thing in my studio called Pacific Coast Record Distributors. Because I had about 15,000 copies of Turn Off the Lights. I had a garage, I had a pallet full of Turn Off the Lights. Okay? When I left Macola, I took all my product, 15,000 Turn Off the Lights, World Class album, all the surgeries, all the old surgeries, everything that ever came out of Macola, I put it in my garage, and I had to sell it because I had the list of the distributors. I started making phone calls. People were buying stuff. Then I had the idea. Well, look, I said, well, Rudy had just got signed to Universal. Unknown had just got 8 hadn't been picked. No, Unknown was still there. Unknown was there. I was there. Egypt was there. I'm like, well, shit. We were Macola's powerhouse groups. Everybody else had left. Timex Social Club had left. We were the powerhouses of Macola. Macola is no longer existent. So I had me and Adrian Gregory. Adrian Gregory is Tupac's manager before he went to Death Row. Adrian owns TNT Records. Adrian was my intern for Crew Cut Records. So we jumped in the car and drove to Palm Springs and went to the NARM convention, National Associations of Record Merchandisers. Okay? They used to meet in Palm Springs every year. We drove out to Palm Springs and we sat down with all the independent record distributors that Makola dealt with, all of them. And we asked them, if Makola is no longer with us, or no longer around, would you buy from us? They all said yes. Unequivocally, yes. Fine. So now we had one problem. We had to get pressing. I set up a meeting with Steve. What's Steve's last name? At Rainbow Records. Steve Shelton at Rainbow Records. We met with Steve at Rainbow Records. He knew our track records for selling music. So he gave us all a $25,000 line of credit. No credit report, no TRW, no nothing. You guys, I know your records. I know what you can do. Each label gets 25 grand a piece. Collectively, we got 100 grand. Then we went to a buddy of ours. His dad used to have a hair care product called Good Fred Oil on 54th and Western, and we rented his warehouse, put all our music in the warehouse, and we set up shop. Bottom line, Egypt was barely involved in that. He was so busy doing his thing, he was hardly involved. His girlfriend ran his company for him. He was very, very, very seldom there. Very seldom there. And that was a problem for us because he never participated. And that's why I'm like, what in the, I don't know where he got that lie from, but that's a damn sure a lie. And this is the kind of things that I'm like, what universe are you living in that we didn't have $4,000 between the five of us to distribute Michael Jackson records? Why would you tell that lie? Anyway, and I'm a real stickler for facts when it comes to history. People have misquoted me on the internet, and with this new AI shit going around nowadays, I did an AI video on myself. It was good for about 90%. I will find myself arguing with people about things that I did personally against AI if I don't correct them. And I can't let him tell that lie in England and let it get back to Los Angeles. Can't do that.
Dr. Dre is who I am. Come with me and your body I'll exam. Don't try to fight it, you can't resist. I'll hypnotize you with just one kiss. What? A world-class freak is what I want for me. How? One-on-one is how it's got to be. World-class freak, can I take you home? Why? 'Cause I'm a bachelor that's tired of being alone. I'm Shakespeare, your poet of love, and you're the lady I've been dreaming of. Standing there, as fine as can be, you're the lady that I want for me. What? A world-class freak is what I want for me. How? One-on-one is how it's got to be. World-class freak, can I take you home? Why? 'Cause I'm a bachelor that's tired of being alone.
The head man. Come on, darling, let me take you by the hand. Well, you look fly as you can be, but you look better standing next to me. What? A world-class freak is what I want for me. How? One-on-one is how it's got to be. World-class freak, can I take you home? Why? 'Cause I'm a bachelor that's tired of being alone.
That DJ Yella, standing in the rear. Stand beside him, he'll whisper
Yeah, you're so fly and on the one. You and he could have a whole lot of fun. What?
I got beat up enough. I beat people up enough. That's not how I want to live, man. As a youngster, running a nightclub in Los Angeles, I had to fight to prove that I wasn't a punk. But I didn't want, it wasn't because I was trying to be a badass. You just can't run over me, okay? And me and Unknown have had several situations against various people just to establish ourselves as a place you just can't come in here and run over us. I've had people on the interview on podcast. Well, we went to Eve After Dark. No, you didn't. No, you did not. No, you didn't do that. And we've had conversations as senior citizens about shit that we did back in the 80s. I'm a senior citizen, man. I'm a grown-ass man. You can't just tell. I have all my faculties. I know you didn't do no shit like that to me. No. So it's important that we keep the story straight as possible. Yes, some things may be misconstrued based on a person's position, but like I said before, I've never been one to be a bully, but I can't stand to be bullied. I always carried a gun at Eve After Dark. I mean, again, I had to do all the gangster shit. I gotta say this, man, and just to keep the story straight. Being a 22-year-old club owner in Avalon, I never got robbed. Nobody never extorted my ass because I didn't play that shit. I wasn't a gangster. I had gangster friends, and we had to understand it. They said, man, we love what you do over here, and we will look out for you. We can't protect you. We'll look out for you. You take care of the inside, we'll take care of the outside. And that was our understanding. And at that time, I carried 2 guns. Like I tell people, I've never considered myself a gangster, but I've had to do a lot of gangster shit to survive in the streets of Compton and LA County. And I'm not proud of that, but when you have to do what you have to do, I ain't never killed nobody, nope. I ain't got nobody, but I got some black eyes and some kicked ass with my name on it, okay? And I've got my ass kicked before too. I'm not a superhero. And that's the part I can't stand about. I can't stand about most of the guys who have blown up. They never had any real human experience. Oh, I did this. You are lying. You're lying. You're a human. You got your ass whooped. You wouldn't fight. Whatever the case may be. I've done it all. Yes, I've won. I got a pretty good record, but I got some defeats as well. And like I said before, I went to jail a couple times in Compton and from Eve After Dark. I had to get the keys to the club to my girlfriend, lock up the club. I'm going to jail.
Spacelab Command here, folks. We hope you've enjoyed episode 7 with Grandmaster Lonzo Williams. Massive respect to the Godfather of West Coast hip hop, and thanks for being a special guest on Spacelab. It's been such an honour. For more of Lonzo's tales, check out his autobiography, NWA Not Without Alonzo, available on Amazon, and the documentary film Eve After Dark on Amazon Prime. Essential reading and viewing for all you old school freaks out there. Join us next time as we welcome Man Parrish onto the Spacelab. Until then, here's the World Class Wreckin Cru Ultimate Mega Mix. I'm not sure if this was a bootleg or an official release. It was released on Street Heat in 1987, so not crew cut. Anyway, we like it, and what's not to like? 12 minutes of world class.
Safe records. Safe mixer. Safe turntables. Safe speakers. Safe records. Safe mixer. Safe turntables. Safe speakers.
Hello, this is Dr. Dre. I'm not in right now, but if you leave your name and number at the sound of the beep, I'll be sure to give you a call as soon as I return.
phone would ring. Heard it ring once, so I picked it up and said hello. It's Dr. Dre, baby, not your average gigolo. Cause I make house calls. It's Dr. Dre, the maniac. House calls, the human aphrodisiac. I love those house calls. To the girls that's all alone. House calls, when your husband's not at home.
Do you make house calls?
Listen to the story as we rap to the beat, as we educate you about life in the street. Cause gang banging, dope slanging, back for the head. If you do it too long, you'll end up dead. If you don't end up dead, you'll end up in jail, living your life in a concrete hell. Gang bang, you're dead and lying in the street. Gang bang, 13 years old and a cold piece of meat. Gang bang, now tell me brother, what you gonna do? Gang bang, when the corner puts the bag on you.
Don't be afraid of this vicious beat. It was created to move your feet. Computerized, it is the best. The synthesized rhythms to put you to the test. An electric force of 1,000,000 watts is what I am when I start to rock. I'm so freaky, I'm so loose. Let me up, freak. Give me some juice.
That makes you break the jam, so tough, guaranteed to move your feet. It's the beat you got to have, the beat you got to keep. Cause nothing can compete with the sound of Dre's beat.
A blend is where you want to be, to fulfill all emotional needs, to have total control of the human mind, where computers rule all mankind.
I'm Dr. Dre, this hunk of a man, beating on the drums any way I can. When I'm on the beatbox, I'm hard to match, and if I can't beat the drums, I can always clash.
Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre.
days a week. He's on call to get the party people up off the wall. You'll feel motivated as he operates, 'cause party energy is what he generates. He'll prescribe for you his potent elixir, 2 turntable speakers and a mixer. He'll rock your party wherever you be, calling Dr. Dre to surgery.
Everybody's got a little